Hey, Vatti here. Welcome to my Ironman Slayer guide for 2017. I feel this is a long time coming, as there hasn't been a comprehensive how-to guide for Ironman Slayer since Osiris's how to do every task on an Ironman video. I would consider this an update to that video. Do note that this is for slaying from 93 onwards. For earlier level slaying tips, I invite you once again to inquire Osiris's How to Max an Ironman guide. I'll put the link to that in the description. In this guide, we'll be discussing why we slay as an Ironman, what we actually do there, the mindset of a maxed Ironman, so the mindset you kind of want to take into late game Ironman and how that reflects slaying in general, the prerequisites for slaying, how to do every task, so that's kind of what you're watching this for, and then what might change from what I'm saying in the next year, what updates could come which would change everything I'm saying. There are a few things you want to consider when slaying. Firstly, this will take a long time, and there will be tasks that just won't fit in with what you want to do at that time of day. This is completely normal, and I would encourage you just to do anything else if you're not feeling up to that particular task. Feel no shame in stopping or hopping to any other more enjoyable skill until you're in the mood for slaying again. Some tasks are just better than others, and we all have our favourites. Secondly, it's best to assume that you have infinite supplies when slaying. Being too conservative with resources such as prayer potions and food is silly, considering how much you profit in both if you plan correctly. You will not run out of prayer potions or manta ray slaying as demonstrated in this guide. Unless you do an exorbitant amount of PVM and need supplies for that specifically, you should be slaying for them anyway, as you'll profit on them from what you're using, from what you'll need. Getting to the stage of acting as if you have infinite potions changes the game drastically. You no longer must worry about conservation, you can just play the game. The sooner you get into this frame of mind, the better. In summary, make the task fun. Play around with different ways you could be doing the task and make it fun for you. Even if the task is slower, at least you're still training the skill, right? There'll be a few items you'll need before starting. With the updates to the Serp Helm, that and the blowpipe are key for a couple of tasks. In fact, a blowpipe is pretty much essential for a lot of tasks on our list. This involves a considerable amount of Zolver killing for scales. It'll be best if you get those two items first before doing any of the tasks at all. Bone Crusher, Herb Sack, Seed Box, Soul Bearer, Cramjug Gloves 4 and Rune Pouch are all considered essential here too. You're going to be strapped for inventory space, and storing all of the drops you get into bags helps with that tremendously. Gem bag is nice, but I don't pick up gems anymore, so take one if you like collecting them. Bracelets of Slaughter are also essential for 4 of our tasks, 2 of them for herb lore purposes, and 2 of them for XP per hour purposes. The other bracelet, the Exponius bracelet, or whatever it's pronounced, that's just not worth it in making it, in my opinion. You want to bring the best gear you can, so if you happen to have Armadillo, Ancestral, Bandos, then by all means take it with you. The melee equivalent of that would be a Fighter Torso or Obsidian legs, although having less defense and 1 less strength bonus compared to Bandos, you still get the extra max hit from having those combinations, so making full button is completely optional. An SGS would be superb to acquire as well, as this saves on prayer potions and food spaces in your inventory, but this is not essential. You can get 200 mil Slayer without an SGS, it's going to take a bit longer. Bludgeon is also good too for Gargoyle tasks, but you can survive well without. Finally, a house with a pool, berry ring, Karen teleport, and spell swap portal are all amazing to have. You can operate without them, but it'll just be less convenient and take more time. Dark Beasts. These are 30,000 XP per hour or so. You do these as a skip task. Although great for superiors, their loot isn't as good as other tasks. They're quick, they're AFK, they're good XP, so we just do them as a skip task. You bring the bare essentials here, so prayer potion, super combat potion, and the quick teddy out. You keep piety on until you get low HP, and then you finish the task with melee prayer on as well. Make sure you don't forget your herb sack and bone crusher, and you just AFK them. One thing you want to make sure about is making them attack you first, so having auto retaliate on here is really good. You just let them attack you, otherwise they start hitting you with mage if you attack them first, so don't do that. Nechryaels. We extend these and we use bracelets on them. This is our most done task. You'll be spending most of your time here doing Slayer, so make the most of it, get used to it. You'll be seeing this for a while. Nechryaels are the best herbs, best GP, and great supplies. This is the reason why Ironman do Slayer, is for this task alone. You do not burst these at all, you always melee them here. This is also the only task we use our Arclight on, so just waste all your shards here, all your charges, unless you're using them at Zami or anyone else, just use them. If you ever run out, go spend all your totems and then come back, it'll be worth doing. And if you're short on shards, then just use a whip, and that's what. But if you have any charges at all, just use your Arclight, because it's definitely worth it here. You want to stay in the middle of the room and kill the 2 spawns, plus any that wander past you, so just camp those 2 spawns. If a superior spawns, I would hit it until you get very low HP, and then you teleport to your house, restore your health with the pool, and then teleport back with a Slayer Ring. The superior will still be there, and the spawns that it spawns won't re-aggro you at all, so you can just kill it from them. It gives you an ample opportunity to get your prayer back and just save them, anything else as well, but that's the quickest way I found of just de-aggroing it. You can also run into the Abyssal Demon Room and run back, but I like just going low HP and then coming back with full HP after that, taking full advantage of the house ball. Smoke Devils. These are around 75k to 160k XP an hour. And there's 2 ways of doing this task. So the one that you're watching now is the way to do it with the cannon, and the one I'll be showing you later is the one to do it without a cannon. The one with the cannon also almost makes it worth making cannibals specifically for, as this is significantly faster XP an hour doing it this way. This is only if you're good though. In the description I'll put a link down to a better demonstration of this method. If you have any cannibals laying around, use them here. There's no better place to use them on an Ironman, in my opinion. The dart luring method, on the other hand, is a bit more nuanced. Instead of using the standard skull on the west, consider using the skull on the east as well. You can play around with different luring spots depending on where the smokes are to stack them conveniently. So to lure them with darts, you swap into your ranged body and Avid's accumulator equivalent, so mine's max cape. You put long range on and you lure the devils to the north side. Then you run back down to the south, tag a few more, being careful not to unaggro the ones that you've already lured, and then you run behind one of the 2 skulls when they're all stacked. Then you put it on defensive cast and you just fire away. I tend to re-lure them when I'm hitting only around 4 or 5 smokes with my barrage, and then obviously when they've all respawned I can just go around tagging them. Although the drops aren't good as elsewhere, for example Nechryaels, whatever, the XP per hour is one of our best, so we get it done here. Black Dragons. This is an easy enough task. You just bring the essentials to the task, you leave piety on, and then you AFK until it's complete. Just kill the first 2 as you're running, and then run down to the spawn with 3 of them, and then kill the rest there. If you're feeling up to it as well, you might want to collect a few blue dragon scales on the way down. I know a few Ironmen who go into the pipe, collect a inventory of blue dragon scales, and then go do their black dragon task. That's not something I do personally, but it's something you might want to consider. The quickest way to get there is just teleporting to the House Porter in Taverley and then running down, and then you just go up the stairs and kill them. It's pretty simple. Dagannoths. These are around 51,000 XP an hour, and we use bracelets on them. This task is weird, but it works quite well, and I think you'll enjoy it once you get used to it. You want to bring a seed box, bone crusher, and a soul bearer, as well as defense potions. They help mitigate some of the damage that you'll be taking. We now go back to doing this task under the lighthouse. We used to do it in the catacombs when the Serp Helm got nerfed previously, but now it's been buffed again, so we do it here. You don't use your Slayer Helm here at all. What you want to do is bring a Serp Helm, and then you bring that blowpipe. You run around the area hitting every Dagannoth that hasn't been tagged yet. You want to make sure that you do at least 1 damage to apply the venom. If you do hit a 0, then it won't apply venom at all. When you hit a 1 or above, it guarantees it. After you tag them all, you focus fire on the smaller Dagannoths. They have the same drop table but less health and give you less XP, meaning on the way to 200 mil Slayer, you'll be killing more Dagannoths and getting more herbs from there, than killing the bigger ones. Plus the smaller ones have lower defense, so it just ends the task quicker anyway. You run around when the new Dagannoths are spawned and then re-tag them when they're coming back to the center. If you forgot any stamina potions like I did in this clip, I don't usually forget them anymore, but if you do, you can just turn walk on and you can just walk around firing between every step, and that pretty much does the same thing. You can pretty much just keep your DPS up 100% while slowly making your way over to the new spawns as opposed to running over there. Walking and running is not really a big difference here, unless you're at the start. It's overall a fun task. It's just a pain in the ass to find an empty world. Although one tip you can do is bring a cannon, but don't load it up. You just have it near the entrance, so someone sees you having a cannon there, and they don't jump down and start crashing you. Because if someone starts crashing you here, then there's no hope, and you just need to find another world. As unfortunate as it is. Gargoyles. This is a simple, pleasant task, and it drops a lot of resources, so it's pretty basic, and we just do this as one of our filler tasks. Stand in this corner here in the Slayer Tower basement, and just tag the 2 that spawn here, alternate between them until you finish your task. It's very simple. You want to make sure that you wait until the Slayer XP drop occurs before clicking the next one, as you might not kill the one that you're currently on. I've had that a few times where I try and click on the other one, and I haven't used the rock hammer on it yet, so it's a bit of a different timing to what you're used to, where you're just used to it dying instantly, but it takes like, I think, another tick or so before it actually dies. So when Superior spawns, you want to play range and avoid the big red thing. That's about it. Pretty simple task.
This is Graphics, and you're watching Panda Drum and Bass TV.
Bloodvelds. This is my overall favourite task. We do it quite differently now compared to how we used to do it. You kill them all in the Catacomb still, but you do it in the west side now, because there's 6 spawns here instead of the other spawns which have 5 or less. What you do is you tag them all with 1 point of damage at least with the blowpipe and Serp Helm one. You don't need to be wearing any range gear here at all, because they generally have low defense with that. You just need to make sure you do 1 point of damage. Sometimes you'll hit a 0, but you'll be able to get it in like 2 or 3 shots. From here you just AFK until one of them dies, and then you re-tag when they spawn with the Serp Helm and blowpipe. And the Venom just does the rest with all the other ones that you're not touching. This method is surprisingly fun. It gives ample opportunity to AFK while you're still getting the best rates. You can just AFK until you've killed at least 3 of them, re-tag all 3 of them, and then they just all get venomed again, and then they start doing their damage. So yeah, this task is very good. Considering we're in multi here and we're tagging all the Velds, we're going to wear Proselyte with this one, and you keep Prey melee on as well as Vatti. You still get prayer points back from the Bone Crusher. You still don't use as many prayer potions as you would if you were to run out of them. You never lose any, so you may as well just use the prayer potions now. But yeah, you just need to remember that we have infinite prayer potions, so it's all good. And this is where you get most of the blood runes as well. It saves time buying them and saves time making them, so you don't profit blood runes, but you get a significant chunk of them from Bloodvelds. Red Dragons. Even before the Chaos Altar addition to the Wilderness, after you've done Kramdra Elite Diary, Red Dragons are a worthwhile task doing due to noted hides. If you don't have Kramdra Elite done, this task isn't for you. It's just not worth it. The hides make it worth it. To get there, you teleport via Fairy Ring to CKR, then you run to the new opening, the one that's underground. You have to pay 5,000 trading sticks, I think, to get there. And then you sip your anti-fire potion and put on your Dragonfire Shield to absorb the 2 hits from the Bronze Dragon. They're always going to hit you, and the Prairie Mage doesn't work on those, it only works on the Chromatic Dragons. Then when you get to the Red Dragon area, you want to stand on the mushroom, where I am now, or you'll see it in a bit. You want to focus your attention on dragon spawnings to the north of the room, and because the ones to the south from you can attack you if they're not in the correct position. The ones from the north from you can never hit you, and the ones from the south can't hit you from where you're standing there, so it's all good. If you run out of dragons to the north, you just tag the ones to the south and you kill those whilst the other ones respawn. One idea that I haven't tested yet though is venoming all the red dragons in the room and then standing at the safe spot. I feel like this might be viable, but I'm not quite too sure yet. Watch this space for a video or something if I end up testing that. Fossil Island Wyverns. This is the latest task that's been released, and it's actually very good for Ironman. To get there you want to use your Dig Site Pendant to get to the house on the hill, and then you use the mushroom down to the herbivore place. From there it's just a short run south to the Slayer only area. From there you run east to the Wyverns at the top. These are the melee Wyverns, I think. These are just the ones that you kill. You don't kill the big ones at all, you don't kill the range or the mage ones. The melee ones will suffice pretty much. As well as their bone drops, you kill these for the seaweed spores. Seaweed spores save you a load of time buying seaweed and soda ash from charter shops. These are pretty much kind of 0 time seaweed, and they yield so much soda ash for your molten glass that it's just very much worthwhile doing. They're a quick and easy task, they're well worth doing. This is one of the optional tasks on our list, so if you're not really bothered by seaweed spores or prayer XP in general, then you can just skip this. You can just skip this task. It's not really worthwhile doing, but if you are going for a more long-term approach to the game, then this is definitely a task you want to be doing. Skeletal Wyverns. This is the second optional task on our list. Before they weren't really worthwhile doing, but because of the Chaos Altar that's coming into the game, Skeletal Wyverns are now back on our task list because of the prayer XP. They have great alternative resources as well, but like I said, this is just a skip task if you want to do it, but it's worthwhile doing on occasion. If you're not inclined to slower Slayer XP, then just skip this task. It's not really worthwhile doing. Generally speaking, you want to bring a Super Combat, 2 Prayer Potions, and the rest of it Manta Rays. They do quite a lot of damage, especially in the gear I'm in, because I don't have Bandos. And then you just do it in 2 trips. It's pretty simple. Nice skip task. Abberant Specters. You extend these tasks if you do them. They're not everyone's favourite task, and these are one of the optional ones as well. And they're not really worth doing if you don't value herb that much, but if you do, then this is one of the best tasks for it. Unfortunately, with Herbivore coming into the game, you might want to consider just not doing this task altogether. This is something I'm working out at the moment, but I'm of the impression that it's at least worthwhile doing until you get to the point where you can reasonably decide with the amount of Hunter XP that you have left, how much herb you'll be getting from that. So it's something to work in until you don't have to do it anymore. You won't be doing this all the way until 200 mil Slayer, but you might be doing some of it just to make up the gap between what you'll need for the end of your herbal supplies. The best place to kill them is right at the start when you climb up the chain. There's 2 spawns quite close to each other, and you just alternate between them, looting one as you kill the other. If you want to complete this whole trip in one sitting, then you want to avoid collecting the Guams and Marantils. Guams are very bad for Ironman in general. They're 8 GP per XP, so they're too expensive for us to use, considering the experience that you get. They're just not worth the GP. And you don't really need Marantils anymore because we'll be using the Chaos Altar, so the only use for Marantils were for our House Altar, but we don't need that anymore, so it's fine. To kill these, you just want to camp Eagle Eye or Rigger, depending on which one you have, until you're low HP, and then when you're low HP, you turn Mage Prey on. This is to conserve any prayer potions, so you don't need to use as many during every trip. 6 will do for a massive task. Dust Devils. You extend these and you use bracelets on these. These are our second best XP task. If you're not cannoning them, then this is our best experience task. They give great gold and great experience. Dust Devils have terrible mage defense, meaning that you can just wear full prayer gear without losing any damage. I see a lot of people using Arams. This is just completely useless. You don't need to use Arams here. We use Proselyte instead of Arams, but if you have any % damage increase gear, then you of course want to use that. The latest example of that being the RD Cloak 4 versus the Imbued Mage Cape. Even though we'd be using the RD Cloak 4 previously, you want to use the Imbued Mage Cape now because of the 2% damage increase. They're rare enough tasks that it doesn't really eat into our Herb and Prayer that we get from overall Slayer XP, so we can take full advantage of this task regardless if we were caring about or super caring about Herb and Prayer. What I usually tend to do is tag them, and then when they've spawned and I'm hitting less than 4, I'll just go and hit them again. So I never hit more than any less than 4 unless there's none there at all, and I just continue barraging them. There's loads of different places you can oscillate between, loads of different corners that you can choose, but I picked this one in particular. It's just one I'm used to. I know there's one a bit closer to the entrance to come into. I know there's one on the opposite side of the room, but this is the one I know for sure that hits the superior when it spawns, when you've already stacked them all up. There's no other special things you have to do. You step under them in between casts, so you can loot them without losing any time looting, so it's 0 time looting. And it takes around 11 to 12 clicks between the oscillating spots to stack all 8 of them. Any more clicks than that is just kind of a waste, so you want to avoid that as much as possible. Very good task though. Blue Dragons. These were already worthwhile before the Chaos Altar update. Many people just didn't really do them. They were kind of underrated, as it were. But Blue Dragons is still a great task, even though it takes multiple trips to do, because they're more than just a skip task usually. The best way to get there, similar to Black Dragons, is just to Tavli teleport and then run in. And you climb up the rock opposite of the staircase. You go up to Black Dragons. There's a rock there you can click and just shoots you up to the Slayer only area. You can either melee or range these. I usually prefer melee, and with melee you want to be using Weapon Defender with an anti-fire potion and Mage Spray. This is faster than a Haster in my opinion, and you don't need a Haster to kill this dragon at all. I personally don't think banking the hides is worthwhile. You just pick up the bones and move on and bank them as you go. If you really want to get technical, you can bank the hides, or you can bring tan leather and craft them as they're respawning or something. That just seems a bit too try hard for me. I'd just rather bank the bones and move on to better tasks. Finally we have Kurasks. This is the last optional task, but Kurasks give great herb and great GP. With the Battle Axe buff that's coming, I was hoping to make the video after the Battle Axe buff came, but it hasn't. These are tasks definitely worth considering doing. A funny thing about this task though is that the normal area is better than the Slayer only area. This is due to the spawns being closer in the normal area. But this makes it a bit annoying to find a world, because you don't want to have a world where there's like one person ranging and another person doing their tasks. It's just too packed, so finding an empty world is obviously preferential for this. I don't know in particular if a spec weapon actually works here. I don't know if an SGS works here. If someone could let me know in the comments, then that's fine, but I didn't know of any spec weapons that work here, so it saves you an inventory space regardless. But it's just a shame that you don't have anything to use a spec on, but oh well. Finally, I just want to go over a few things that would change the content of this video in the future. The main and only one that would do so would be a change to how herb lore works for Ironman. Currently we rely on secondaries to get most of our herb lore experience. Any update that removes the burden of collecting secondaries will result in an increase in average herb experience per hour. Any update that has a 0 resource herb lore gaining mechanism will render all of our herb gathering and seed growing useless. I hope this doesn't happen, but it might, so that's something to keep in mind. If this does, then we'll resort to a shorter, more concise task list, consisting of best XP per hour tasks only. Then again, I doubt it would change that much of the video. Most of our best tasks for prayer and herb happen to be our best XP tasks anyway, so it's kind of funny how that works out. Any additional gear changes may affect this as well. The venom strategies, for example, were not possible before this recent update. Same for buffs and nerfs. They may change how some tasks work. How even a drop table buff akin to the one that made Gargoyles and Nechryaels good could change this task list as well. One of the main culprits of this being abyssal demons or something like that. If a new monster comes out which has incredible herb or just really good experience, then you never know. These are just all things to keep in mind. Overall, I hope you found this guide useful. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments. Please give this video a like and share it with the community. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time. Peace.